This is an overview of the Makerbot Replicator 2X printer. This is just kind of a breakdown, kind of overview to familiarize yourself with the printer. I kind of wish I had done an unboxing, but a little late for that now. So if you look at this printer, you will have heard and understand that it has a metal frame. And the metal frame is there in order for it to be more rigid and not have the problems of expanding and contracting like wood, to hopefully make your prints have better quality. One thing you may not know is these pieces here, these flat pieces, and see, here's the edge here, right there's the edge, and they're screwed in with these large Allen screws here. This is actually like fiberboard painted black, but that's okay. And then you've got on the sides, to keep the breezes out and the heat in, you've got these plexiglass right here. Now what's nice, these particular hinges are kind of nice because if I reach and grab the handle and pull it, see, it just kind of stays wherever I put it, which is nice. Okay. When I got the printer, there's a few simple things I had to do, not much. Right. This was all attached, but the handle came separately. I had to attach the handle. Didn't take very much trouble. And on the back, there's spool holders that the spools of the plastic filament go on. I had to put the spool holders on. Again, that was not a lot of work. Then there is this. This is the plastic cover that helps keep the heat in, so you get better prints and the wind out. And it covers nicely, right? And it's got magnets in it, so it kind of makes it's easy to pull off, but it just kind of snugly fits. And in the back, you notice that the cables that go to the extruders fit through that hole. Now, just to note that if you ordered a Makerbot Replicator 2X printer, there's a good chance, like me, that you will not get the cover at the same time, and it will show up on your packing list as shipped, and it will show up on the website as shipped, and it might cause some alarm. I do believe Makerbot should tweak that process a bit so as not to freak out people. There was just a little note that it might be shipped later, but when you see it on the packing slip and on the shipping manifest, that can freak you out. I did get it 2 or 3 days later, and they were kind enough to send an extra spool of filament with it. I think they were just being nice because of the confusion. I don't know, but I appreciate it. One other thing I want to mention about this printer is that when you look inside the manual, it talks about all the things that come with the printer. And one of the things it says in the manual is 2 spools of filament. Well, on the website, it doesn't talk anything about 2 spools of filament. So I ordered myself separately 2 spools of filament because I didn't know that it came with filament. So be aware of that. Doesn't mean you don't want to order more filament. I definitely would have ordered at least one different color because I have now 2 red spools, one that came with the printer and one that I bought extra. So anyway, just be aware of that. Okay, so in here you have the extruders. So this is the, where's my finger? There it is. This is the right extruder. That's the left extruder. The right extruder is the default extruder on this printer. These white plastic round things are the guide tubes. Oh, I had to put that in, and of course I had to put the filament spools on the back on the spool holders, and I had to run the startup script to feed these things into there. One confusing thing is the startup script has a feed and a feed routine, and then it runs the normal feed routine, which is very confusing. Don't let that freak you out. Hopefully Makerbot will tweak that as well and get that going very hopefully better. Another thing, I'm going to take the cover off just so you can see better. It's kind of hard to see on my camera, but you'll see that I've got this surface on my build platform. And the build platform, unlike the Makerbot 2, which is made out of acrylic, this one's made out of steel, I believe brushed steel. But on top of this, I've put a piece of Kapton tape, which looks more like, when you see it, it looks more like a yellowish tinged slide you would use on an overhead projector. But you peel off the backing, which I would suggest just peeling a little tiny bit off, and you use this little plastic thing, which I don't have with me at the moment, to rub it on, and you might get some bubbles and stuff. Do the best you can with it. This surface, the Kapton tape, can be used to help your print stick better if you're printing in ABS plastic, which is kind of this printer's forte. If you want to print in PLA, you would want to use blue painter's tape, just the average blue painter's tape that you would use. Now you get like 3 sheets of this Kapton tape, so you don't need to change it unless the surface gets really messed up bad. So I haven't changed mine yet, so there's a few gouges and scratches and stuff. If you want to print in PLA, instead of peeling it off and basically wasting an entire sheet of this stuff, and you only have 3 and the stuff can be expensive, is what you can do, and what they do at the bot cave, is put the blue painter's tape on top of the Kapton tape for your PLA prints. Once you're done and you want to go back to ABS, just peel the blue painter's tape back off and just print on the Kapton tape. I mean, the blue painter's tape's pretty cheap, right? You can buy this stuff at your home center fairly cheaply. Leveling the build plate is something you're going to have to do, and I'm not going to show it to you at this time, but it's very important. If you want your print to actually work, your build plate can't be too close or too far away from the print heads. Which brings up right there. See those little 2 pointy things? Let's see here. There we go. That's the right extruder. That's the left extruder. So, pretty cool. See these little springs here? That's adjusting the height of this build plate to tweak it when you do the leveling. And there's a screw underneath here. Got my hands on it. You can turn it one way to move the build plate toward the extruders, and the other way to move it away from the extruders. That's a whole nother subject. And then you've got I don't have the printer plugged in right now, but this is where you would see all the statuses. This is where you would control the printer. And then up here is where the SD card comes. And see, here's one that came with the printer. So your printer should come with an SD card that comes with a bunch of sample prints. So another thing here is you can see this is the gantry that the print heads go on, and there's like another gantry on the sides right there, right, and on the other side the same thing. So that does the XY, and then down here the platform goes on here, and that's the Z. And on the XY, let's see if we can, right there, right in there, this is a belt that drives the thing. When you pick up your printer, you don't want to grab that. You don't want to mess that up. So just be careful with that, how you pick up your printer. And that, I think, will be the end of this video.